Hello everybody, Mike Levin, Friday, April 27th, out walking the big guy. I don't know, I guess it's around 8:30 p.m. We just got Addie back from Hot Shabbat with Rabbi Guy. It was a wonderful experience, and I'm walking the dog and thinking about my very fruitful day of coding. I'm also going to move the dog to a different route now that I have visited the trash can. Okay, so on the coding front, I got the backbone of the simple crawler done. I have a function that triggers the process. It goes out, visits the URL given as an input parameter, grabs the HTML, parses out all the href values on all the link elements, and that's where I'm at right now. It makes a new row for each href value it finds. I'm not doing anything fancy with the columns yet, but I plan to. The most important thing is what I've been promising, these mobile get-in functions. So I really got to get those done so that people can start using them before Tuesday. But the other thing is to make one more step either before the insertion of the rows or after, probably before, so that it establishes the data structure of the spreadsheet. So the data structure basically means how many columns are we talking about? Because every time you insert a row, you want to send, it's a list of lists for inserting a chunk of rows at a time. And whenever you do that, you want to make sure that each row, such as it were, in your list of lists, each sublist corresponds to a row, is the same horizontal number of elements as the spreadsheet. You don't want column slippage. You want to be inserting a rectangular region whose X by Y values is exactly the same size as the spreadsheet you're inserting into is on the X. The Y will take care of itself. So, right now I'm just inserting 2, but only even 1 holds a value because the second column it's inserting on the row is the crawl column, which had to be there to trigger the whole process in the beginning, in the first place, because there's got to be a function. First column was already taken up by a parameter input value, being a URL. So the next column has to be crawl so that some value can be fed to some function. And then systems kick in to notice that it's doing stuff to a global object. The systems that kick in is the use of the global object, which represents sheet 1 from the spreadsheet, from the outer framework context being passed into this inner context, which is user functions. But user functions have access to the sheet 1 global object that I established early in the process. Consequently, user functions can add rows. And when user functions have the ability to add rows, they can get the pipulate behavior all kinds of wacky. You can capture tweets from a Twitter account or from a hashtag search and create a row for each tweet that came back in search results. You can scrape the contents of a Google search result and create a row for each item, for each item in the list of the search result. So you can do sort of top 10 capture. And that's just the start of it. The use I'm doing is to capture a crawl, a one-page crawl. So I thought to myself, if this is ever going to be extended to a full-fledged crawl, there's going to be a concept of keeping track of crawl depth, my favorite data point on a crawl, because clicks away from home page is the great overlooked relevancy criteria of SEO. The closer something is linked from your home page, the more important it is. And short click paths from your home page represent valuable real estate. If you link to 100 things off your home page, you are squandering the clout that the home page itself has to throw around. So keep them to a minimum. The ideal, the easy way to think about these things is a pyramid shape with your home page on top. The home page itself is a 0. It's 0 clicks off of the home page by definition. And the next level down, say you've got 10 pages the next level down. Each one of those 10 pages will get 1/10 of the clout that the home page has to divvy out. And that's not such rapid dilution, you know, from, 100% to 10% the next level down. Now here's the thing, with just one more click being a number 2, a click depth of 2, say each primary nav item, each top nav item has 10 sub items. So that's 10 times 10. You've got 100 pages with just a site that's a click depth of 2. That's what makes it easy to conceptualize the pyramid. It's a logarithmic scale. If you let the crawler go to a click depth of 3, you're easily dealing with 1,000 pages. And 1,000 pages is too much to start handling in Google spreadsheets, so don't. That's why I am restricting this crawler to handling 1 click depth per click, probably to a maximum. It'll be a parameter so you can override it if you want to try to do big crawls with Pipulate, but I advise against it. Just get Screaming Frog or program with Scrapy or do one of the other industrial strength ready for prime time large crawl tools, of which there are plenty and I'm not trying to reproduce. What you want to do is just think of your site as a 1 or 2 click depth site and get familiar with the pages up to 2 click depth, because that should only be 100 pages, and that's completely maintainable in Pipulate in a Google spreadsheet. So if you start using my crawl tool and you find the results unwieldy in Google spreadsheet, that is a point. That is a point of observation. Maybe you've pancaked your site out flat. Maybe you're squandering all the clout that each page has to send down through Google's, PageRank relevancy system. So why not just, let's see, why not just tell people it defaults to a click depth of no more than 2, and that's all you should ever try to crawl with Pipulate and into Google spreadsheets. That makes sense. And then you have a manageable number of pages, because when you're in SEO, the most pages you ever want to advise people, the most keyword groups you ever want to advise people to target is like, I don't know, 25, 30. You can't really position in the number 1 spot for more than, say, 20 keywords. I mean, you'll be lucky if you have the top spot for 20 keywords that evaluate to some decent search numbers. And, that's even like 5,000 monthly searches. If you get something that you can be in position number 1 for 5,000 monthly searches, it doesn't sound like much, but it really is, because times 20 more keywords in such a strong position with such search volumes, and suddenly you're the one in charge of the agenda of that industry, and that's what's at stake here. And that's what I'm trying to do with Pipulate as free and open source SEO software. And I'm well underway, especially with the fruitful results of today, where, I pretty much nailed the crawler aspect of this, which has been hanging out there for a while. It's been a part I deliberately overlooked at the early phase of the project, because I led with it the last time I did something like this. And I wanted to get myself out of the crawler way of thinking and to think more in terms of the awesomeness of the Python programming language. How would I do this to make this great and keep the user interface updated continuously with information, given the fact we were going to be connecting to what is frankly a flaky API. When you try and do manipulations to Google spreadsheets through the GData API, which is not quite sunset or deprecated, but it's probably on its way at some point. So Pipulate has a dependency on something that I expect will go away, which is fine, because some sort of translation layer will allow Pipulate with a little bit of recoding to hook to other things that have equivalent APIs, of which there are basically none today, and I am so waiting for one. Anyway, this video has dragged on long enough. I have a few last things I need to do on the code. Of course, the functions I've been promising to check for mobile friendliness or mobile readiness or readiness for mobile get-in or whatever you want to call it. But I also want to start recording the click depths in the crawl column. So instead of the word done, I'll stick 0 in there. And on each line it adds from a discovered href value, it'll stick 1 because it was discovered 1 click off the home page. And that's really what I'm getting after tonight. That first step in the crawl, because I don't even want to deal with 100-page crawls yet. Let's start with 10, 20, you know, maybe up to 50 links off your homepage. But if there really is, you got too many links on your homepage. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you soon. And don't forget to subscribe.